No matter what level of rider you are, or however much experience you have, we all make mistakes. And it's probably in our eagerness to get more riding done.
So these are the most common e-bike mistakes. I know I've made them all. How do I turn this on, Steve?
Okay, number one is the head shaker. You see people riding around saying it doesn't work. And that's because on some systems, you need to switch the motor on when you're off the bike. Otherwise, it won't engage.
Yeah, there's a lot of people jump on their bikes in eagerness to get going, then turn it on whilst they're rolling along, and it'll power up, but it won't give you any boost. Now, another common problem is riding in the wrong mode. Now, turbo sounds great, feels great, and it will get you up those techie, steep climbs, but you're not going to need it all the time, and it will burn your battery. So why not flick it down a couple of modes? Eco's great for transfers. Systems tend to have these remotes up on the bar now to make that really easy, so get using that whilst you're riding. Some systems like Bosch have a more reactive mode as well, so eMTB reacts to how much power you're putting through the pedals. The more you put down, the more the motor will power you. The less you do, the less it will. So that's a great way also for saving battery. It's almost like an automatic. Don't forget, you can always use your right thumb to put it in a lower gear and use more of your own power on the steeper climbs. Another great way of saving battery.
Oh, don't underestimate how tough riding an e-bike can be. Not only will you quite possibly be a slave to your motor on the climbs and the transfers, but before you know it, you'll have done 6 descents, you probably won't have spoken to your mates for 2 hours, all of a sudden your legs gone to jelly, you got the shakes, you got the bonk. It's hard riding an e-bike, right?
Yeah, it's really easy to get carried away and do a really hard paced ride. So you've got to think about fueling your body, not just think about the battery levels on your bike. So obviously a drink, but also gel, something like that, so you can regularly take those, especially over a longer ride, 2 or 3 hours. I'll always take a couple of gels or bars with me.
Another really important aspect of ride management is battery life. Now, you've been out all day, you've been having a grand time, but you're on vapors. You've got 1 bar, 2 bars left in your battery, but you just cannot help yourself, can you?
I think this is inevitable. We're all going to do it. I know I've done it. I think, right, one more hill, it's going to be great, run out of battery. Then you soon realise how hard it is actually trying to pedal this bike without any e-assistance.
Don't get stuck in your comfort zone. Now, the unknown and change is scary because your mind wants to continue as it has been. Okay, buying an e-bike can take a lot of suffering out of riding, but don't get stuck in that mode, because mix up your rides. Go and tackle that hill you've never done before in turbo mode, and a few weeks later revisit it in a lesser power, and then maybe a couple of weeks later hit it in eco mode. The secret is to keep mixing up your rides, redline your heart rate, and definitely don't get lazy and go plodding on your e-bike.
Don't forget the maintenance on your e-bike, because you could be riding it an awful lot, but you're also putting a lot of power through the drivetrain. So make sure that is clean and lubed. Other things like wheels, again, there's more weight to the bike, so keep an eye on those. I'm finding that I'm wearing out tyres and brake pads pretty quick. Pressure washing is a definite no-no. It'll get in there even if you don't think it will. Water and power have never been good partners. Get out the bucket and sponge and the hose, and don't forget the elbow grease.
Managing your ride is a really important part of e-biking. Now, I know e-bikes are about kind of spontaneity, the unplanned, but you do need to have a rough idea of what you're going to do during the day, right?
Yes, it's trying to manage, I think, 2 types of potential stored energy. I sound like an expert there, don't I? So talking about your energy, but also your battery, so neither of them run out.
Yeah, I mean, so it depends. Are you going to go for a 1 hour, 2 hours flat out blast.
That's what I do. So often I'll just do downhill runs around a hill. I'm parked to the bottom of the hill in my car. So when I do run out on the last climb, I can turn back around and come back down. Yeah. Easy.
Alternatively, you know, you could be on a 4-hour adventure, in which case you need to be a real Scrooge with your power. You need to plan your ride and have an escape plan if things go wrong. Don't forget the importance of a good rear tyre that's got good grip and is not worn out. Now, if you're riding smooth single track all day long, then it probably doesn't matter, but you're missing out on some great opportunities there. The thing with e-bikes is you can tackle technical climbs, and that soft compound doesn't really matter as much. So yeah, rear tyre, really, really important. Whew. So you've been out charging all day, get back to the van, all you want to do is chuck the bike in there, get home and get in the shower. Now, I didn't know this, but it's really important to keep the battery on a high state of charge, maybe kind of 70% or 100%. Because if you don't do it, if you leave it in a state of discharge, it's really going to degrade the battery. Now, at £700 a pop for a battery, it's really important you do this. So get in the habit, get home, before you get in the shower, get the battery on charge. One thing that does come up quite frequently is the banter between e-bikers and non-e-bikers. You get it on Facebook, you get it on a channel, you get it in the woods. I mean, what's the tip there, Don?
Well, just don't rise to it, I guess. I'm a normal mountain biker and an e-biker.
Exactly.
I try and give myself stick, but it doesn't really work, Steve.
Did you see my heart rate on that climb earlier?
Oh, yeah, absolutely revving. Last but not least, big piece of advice is respect other trail users. Often now you can have more power than they are, so respect them, give them space, especially on climbs, I think.
Give them warning as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think it's up as well as down, right?
Yeah, and it's just a simple one, respect other trail users. If you want to see some more videos, click over there for how to manual, over there for the latest EMBN show.
And if you like this video, please give us a like and a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe.